extra special because I'm reading your all-time favorite books. Not just the 5 stars, but y'all's 6-star reads, which is a popular term now on Bookstagram, Book Talk, and BookTube, where it's not just a 5-star read. It made you emotional. It put you in a book hangover. You cannot stop thinking about it, and it will be a top recommendation probably for the rest of your life. 6-star reads. I asked you guys here on my YouTube channel as well as on my Bookstagram, so I got a good handful of book recommendations. The book that stood out the most to me, because I have this on my physical TBR, and it's going to be the first book we read in this video, Firefly Lane by Kristin Hannah. I don't know anything about this book. I only know that it is a Netflix show. This will be my 6th book from her, 5th book from her. I'll put them up on the screen. I've read all of these books from Kristin Hannah. Let's get into the reading vlog. I am on page 100, or technically I'm on page 91, but chapter 8. Of course I love it. It's a Kristin Hannah book. Oh, here come the babies. Still on part 1, but it's set in 1970s time frame between these 2 girls, Kate and Tully. Kate and Tully are neighbors and become best friends. They're around the same age. Going along with them through their teen years, again, the 70s, I think. It started out when they were like 11, and right now I think they're 17. And we're getting to know them as individuals. Tully is definitely the rebel between the two. She kind of likes to break rules. She's smoking. She likes to sneak out, but she does have a really, really tough history, and her mom is very neglectful. Her grandma, who she was really, really close to, passed away, so she's kind of dealing with a lot of things. Personally, mentally, she's going through a lot as a teenager. And Kate is quite literally the opposite, like loves to read, good girl, has a really, really stable family life. It's just their relationship right now. Like there's really nothing about it. It's just teenagers kind of going through their life. Loving the dynamic that Kristin Hannah is building between the two. I can tell there's gonna be some tension in the future because of the way that Tully interacts with Kate. Really enjoying it. Of course I am. I expected nothing less. Who did recommend that to me? Let's look that up. Books and Tea. I don't know your name, but Books and Tea commented on my community post on YouTube and recommended this, so thank you for recommending this because I already love it and I know I'm gonna love the rest of the book. Let's look really quick statistically at Kristin Hannah books and what I've rated them before. I think I've read 4 Kristin Hannah books, so this would be my 5th. Oh yeah. She's got some good ratings, okay? So I read The Nightingale first, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Great Alone, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Still a really good book, but I gave it 4. The Four Winds, which I gave 3. Kind of surprising. I don't remember why I gave that 3 stars, but I did write a review on Goodreads. I said I loved this as an audiobook, but the realistic storyline of the mundane farm life with pretty mundane characters didn't do it for me. Obviously the book has way more depth than that, but I still had a hard time keeping interest in this one. Then The Women, gave it 5 stars, so I'm expecting this one to be up there. I already relate to the 2 main characters pretty well, relate to Kate a lot. I grew up with a best friend. I feel like she was more of the Tully in that relationship. I will update later. Stay. Part 2, page 130. I know I just updated last night, so I'm not even that much further, but I'm loving where this is going, and I have like a really good idea of where it's going because of the things that's happening between Tully and Kate. They are in college now. They go to college together. They're in the same sorority, and Tully, being the broadcaster lady she is, she really is trying hard in all of her classes. Journalism, like she's going so hard. She wants to be like the best broadcaster like ever. Is that what they're called? Broadcasters? I don't know. She wants to be on TV and she wants to like do journalism and reporting and all of that fun stuff. Kate, since they've been little, has been like, oh, I'm gonna be your partner. Like I'm gonna be a broadcaster with you. Like we're gonna get jobs together, whatever. Now that Kate is in college, Kate's like, I don't know if I want to be a broadcaster, Tully. Like you have your dreams, I have mine. Kate really has this like traditional view of the world. She really wants to fall in love. She wants to be a wife. Like she has different views and different goals than Tully, but because they've always been at it together, Tully's kind of like, of course you want to be a broadcaster. Like you don't have dreams. I have dreams. You're gonna do what I want. Honestly, it's so relatable. This book reminds me so much of my childhood. I feel like growing up, I was kind of that sidekick friend, kind of like Kate is. And once high school hit, I kind of just was like, all right, I'm done. Kate has so much potential. I'm loving her as a character. And I really love Tully. Oh my gosh, I love Tully. She's such a badass. She's going for it. She's doing her thing. But I also know the pressure that Tully is putting on Kate, and Kate is definitely moving at a slower pace than Tully, and that's okay. We all grow differently, and I am loving it. But that's the update now. I'm about to eat breakfast and go to the gym, but y'all didn't really need to know that. Okay, bye. Part 3, page 230. It's called The 90s. Okay, focus. Part 2. So good and also so scary at the same time because these two characters, you guys. All right, let's get into it. It's the 80s. They're vibing, they're having a good time. They're also graduating college and looking for a job. They end up getting a job together with a group of people. So it's Kate, Tully, Johnny, and then a few other people. We've got a love triangle. Johnny is in love with Tully. Kate is in love with Johnny. And Tully is off doing her own thing. She is sleeping around with different people, just not wanting to fall in love, doing her, literally Tully is so career focused and so career driven, could give two craps about any kind of guy. They're kind of butting heads career wise, but there's also a man. It's this whole thing. I won't say any spoilers, but let's just say the way that it went and the way that it's going, I don't like. I mean, I'm loving the book, absolutely soaking up the gossip and all of this, but I don't like it because it makes me anxious because I don't know what's gonna happen. So that's the update, but you know what I do want to do? I want to scroll on my community post that I made a few weeks ago for this video and on my Bookstagram comments to find my next 6-star read that I'm going to read in this video because I haven't done that yet. I think I'm probably going to have to go to Barnes & Noble because whatever book that I want to read on here, I probably don't own it. Rush and Butterfly Project by Emma Scott. I love Emma Scott. I've read a few of her books. I'm gonna add that to my want to read. I don't really want to read an Emma Scott book. I feel like it's gonna break my heart. The Gracier, I've heard a lot of good things about that. Brightside by Emma Holden, I cannot speak. Brightside by Kate Holden. I started and DNF'd it 1 chapter in. So I didn't technically DNF it, I just taste tested it. I just picked it up and then didn't read it. The Women by Kristin Hannah, also gave that 5 stars. Butcher Blackbird, loved that. And Blindsided by Amy Dawes. What is that? Hidden Pictures, I actually have on hold on Libby. A dowry, if I could say that word, that would be great. A dowry? The City of Brass, I really would want to read that, but I did DNF that 150 pages in, so I don't know if I'd love that. The Nightingale and Firefly Lane, thanks Books and Tea. So I have to think about all of those options. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really in the mood to go to Barnes & Noble. The 2 books that I'm most interested in are Hidden Pictures, don't make me say his name, Jason Rukulak, but I'm also really interested in A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, and both of these are available in paperback at my local Barnes & Noble. And both of them were in Barnes & Noble's Best Books of 2022. Best Books of 2022. I might read both in this video. It really depends on my September TBR and how that's going, but I'll definitely read one of them, so stay tuned. I read part 3 yesterday. I spent all day yesterday and read part 3. I feel like I've been reading this really slow, but I'm enjoying it. I'm on chapter 24, page 300, and I'm in part 4, which is the 2000s. So it's another decade later. So I just read about the 90s, and a lot happened. Tully and Kate weren't together for most of the 90s. They were on separate, in separate parts of the country doing their own thing. Kate being a mom and kind of struggling doing it all by herself, which I have something to say in a minute. Then there was a major accident that Kate was involved in, And then there was Tully, who is doing her own thing, becoming the star that she wants to be in the broadcast morning show industry. I don't really know what to call her job. And some other life things thrown in here and there. But I'm really liking their character development. You're really starting to see, like, Kate, she's like, I'm a mom, but I want to do writing. So she starts taking up writing classes, and she's doing little tiny things for herself. But then enter the 2000s, and Kate gets pregnant again with twins, and she kind of has to stop writing for a little bit to kind of take care of her children. But one thing I do want to say is that Kate is married, and she's taking on, like, every chapter that Kate is, like, it's her POV and Kate's, like, talking to us. She's like, I'm just doing so much. I'm doing, like, all of the field trips, all of the volunteer work. I'm doing the laundry, the cooking, the this, the that. I'm taking them to school. Like, she's literally doing everything, and I get it, but she needs to ask for help because she's so tired. People are pointing, like, even her own husband's like, you look tired. Yeah, you fucker. You should probably help her out every once in a while. It sounds like she's doing everything by herself. He might be making the money, but she's not sleeping. So there's got to be some compromise in there. I'm going to try and finish it tomorrow, but I'll get a good portion of the way out today. Oh, you good girl. She always, like, gets as close to your face as possible and sniffs it. And then you hear her go, my little bunny. We're here. Just 2 books.
It better be it.
Just 2. Our favorite, well, one of my favorite stores. Brock doesn't really like Barnes & Noble.
Well, the prices aren't the greatest, and I like old editions because they're cheaper and they look cool.
It makes sense for your books.
Yeah, you're not gonna find a used old edition of Sarah J. Maas or Kristin Hannah.
What is the most recent book you've read, like, written? Like, it was written in 2000 something.
Solenoid was published in 2021 or 2022, and it won an award there. But it was written in Romanian in 2015, I think, or 2011.
Oh, okay.
There's a few others, though, that I've actually read that are fairly recent. The history book I'm reading right now is 2017.
I think the oldest book I've read this year might be, like, 1998.
We'll work on that.
No, we'll work on you. H-I-J-K.
L-O-M-N-O-P.
Where's G?
I'm always nervous. There's gonna be some guys see me and they're gonna like, get this sexual harassment right here.
I got 3 books, not just 2, but A Dowry of Blood, which I went in there for. I'm really excited for this. I kind of want to start it tonight, but I also am in the middle of another book, and it's only 300 pages, so it's kind of a quickie. And then Hidden Pictures, which I also really want to start. This might be, like, my next one. I don't know yet, though. And then The Prison Healer, which is also on the list. It could be a part of this video, too. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm in the mood for to start next, but we'll probably wait till tomorrow after I finish.
Who is we?
Me and them. We'll probably wait till tomorrow to start another book.
I like this cover more, and I like the idea of it being like a little bit of a shorter read. It's, quote, thrilling and seductive. But I love the texture on this.
Yeah, this feels
It's
really
got
good.
this nice kind of, not matte texture, but a little, it's got a little grippy to it.
Yeah.
And then nice gloss on the spine.
Yeah. But, you know, I had to ask one of the guys to help me find them because I have 2 different, like, mystery thriller sections that I didn't know about, and he pulled them off the shelf for me, which was fine, but I didn't even notice. This one has a little
Yeah,
right
I
there.
saw that too.
I would have picked my own, but he kind of was like, here you go, and I was like, oh, but it does have pictures. Well, I guess that would make sense. It's called Hidden Pictures. Okay, that's it. Now we're going to Home Goods. This book is really sad. I have 1 chapter left. was heartbreaking. Oh my goodness. I've had some time this morning to think about the book. I'm giving it 5 stars. I'm not surprised because it's a Kristin Hannah book. Like, I love her books, and this one really, really touched me. The end was brutal. Like, I don't think I've cried like that over a book in months. I don't even remember this year if I've cried over a book like I did this one. The end really crushed me. Life has its ebbs and flows, and this book really does take place between 2 people's lives, like from teens to older adult. Like, it really does go through their whole life. I laughed, I cried, I was mad, I was so happy at some parts. Like, it really, the whole wheel of emotions was brought out in this book. Now, moving on, because that book ruined me. Great book, recommend it completely. The end, look up the trigger warnings. I don't want to say it on here, I think that's spoiling. I went into this book blind, and I think that's the best way to do it. So go into this book blind, unless trigger warnings affect you somehow. They definitely affected me, I still cried, but it was amazing. Now I have to pick between the 3 books that I bought last night. And this is the most indecisive I've been about picking a book before. I want to read all 3 of these equally for this video. So I went to YouTube, my community post, and I put a poll on there. So if you voted in the poll, thank you. 32%, I'm gonna screenshot this, 32% Dowry of Blood, 22% voted Hidden Pictures, and 46% voted The Prison Healer. So let's see who commented The Prison Healer. Autumn Reads 5753. Thank you. Let me see, there was a comment on the poll. There were a few comments. Stephanie said, I think you and Brock should read Dowry of Blood together. I think you'd enjoy the fantastical elements and he'd like the prose. So maybe I'll read this with Brock. Maybe I can convince him to read it. I doubt he would, but I'll try and convince him. It's short. Maybe that could be a separate video. I know nothing about it, and I don't want to know anything about it. I go into my books blind. So I'm going to start today. Update on The Prison Healer. I'm really liking it. I'm 100 pages in on chapter 11. Technically 99 pages in, but that's fine. I'm also reading it on my Kindle because I've been doing cardio at the gym for 30 minutes a day, and this has been nice, so I don't have to like physically hold the book. Also, people don't know what I'm reading when I'm at the gym when I have my Kindle. I don't like reading like this on the treadmill. I love our main character. She's very closed off because of the world that she has been raised in, and she's a prison healer. She lives in a prison. We don't know why she's in the prison, but we do know she's been there for like 10 plus years, and she's only 17. So she's been there since she was like a kid, and she knows how to survive in this prison. We haven't really met any other prisoners except for 4 and a guard, or 3 and a guard. So the guard, I can tell, is like on the good side. Like, she's not a bad guard. Her name is Nari, I think that's how you say it. So Kiva is our main character. Nari is the guard. There's Tip, who is a young, like 10-year-old boy who kind of helps out in the infirmary. And then we have Mott. What are they called? Mortician? He handles the dead people. And then we have Jade and Jaren. And Jaren, I think, is our, if this has any kind of romance, I think he's potentially our main love interest. But I think he's a royal or something because he's the most recent prisoner that got sent to them. So it is giving Hunger Games Katniss Everdeen vibes. Kiva just put herself up as like, I volunteer as tribute to take someone else's place in this thing called the ordeal, which no one has survived before in the prison. So, and that is on the back of the book, so that's not a spoiler. I am interested, so if you look, the book has these like darker pages right there. I'm really interested because what does this mean? I wonder if she like blacks out or if she like faints or something, and I'll come back up with another update later. I'm trying to finish this book today and I'm not liking it, but I'm almost done and I just want to like get it off my put it on my shelf and be done with it, and I hope to do that today. So The Prison Healer will be my main focus in the next few days, and I will keep you guys updated. So I'm on page 200, chapter 19. I am liking it. It's really slow, but in a good way. I think it's just the plot is kind of developing, and I know that it's building up to something. I'm about 50% of the way, and I will update later, but I'm gonna binge read tonight. I kind of want to finish this tomorrow, and I'm debating if I want to do a third book in this video or not. So if I leave this part in, there will be a third book. You guys recommended so many books, and I do want to get to them, and since I bought Hidden Pictures and A Dowry of Blood, I feel like I should include one of those. So I might, but I'm gonna binge read tonight, maybe get to like 250 or 300. Like if I could get another 100 pages in this, that would be so great because this is 400-ish pages. So, okay, I'm gonna talk about some spoilers really quick. So if you haven't read this book, maybe skip ahead a little bit, but I'll put the timestamp down below for you. Kiva doesn't have any elemental powers, and she's about to do her second ordeal, which is fire. So she's literally being put into a furnace for 10 minutes, like the crematorium. Is that what it's called? She's being put in the furnace for 10 minutes to see if she survives it. And she does not have any elemental powers, at least from what we know. And her friends, like Nari, the guard, and Jaren are both like, you've got this. Don't worry about it. You can do this. And I'm like, besides the amulet that the princess gave her, she literally could not survive this. I mean, from what we know, like we think, and I'm pretty sure she's probably got some elemental powers and we just don't know it yet, but like from what we know as a reader and from what her friends know, she has no elemental powers. So why are they giving her like false hope? She don't got it. I mean, I think she does got it. Obviously there's more to the book, but I do really like how accurate Kiva's anxiety is, because a lot of times in these books the female main character is so fearless, it's a little unrealistic. But Kiva on the pages are a little weird on Kindle, but around 56% on page 230 on my Kindle, she's describing how like anxious she is, hyperventilating and having like a panic attack, and reasonably so because she's about to be put into a furnace alive. So Kiva's literally about to go into this hot fire furnace, and Nari is like kind of guiding her to it, and Nari wouldn't be offering comfort if she didn't believe Kiva could survive. Like, what does Nari know that Kiva doesn't? Because like, why does Nari think she can survive? I'm gonna call something. Nari and Jaren obviously like know each other. Like, I'm pretty sure they know each other outside of the prison, and both of them showed up in the prison around the same time. I'm wondering, maybe they do know who Kiva is, and Kiva is someone important. That's what I'm going to assume. And maybe she does have some sort of elemental power, and that's why they're both so confident in her ability to survive this cremation. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to guess. Update. I am almost done with the Prison Healer. I did read a lot this morning, and I got to those black pages that I was telling you guys about, or showing you guys earlier, and it makes sense. It makes sense why they're black. Things that I want to talk about, because it is a young adult fantasy, and it has young adult elements in it, like they're going through the ordeal and it's kind of trial, like just the elemental magic and the things that she's having to go through are very YA coded. You would see these things in YA books, but oh my god, I would not let a young adult read this book. It's dark. I mean, these characters are going through it. You're in a prison that is ruthless, and the ordeals that Kiva is going through are so traumatizing and life-altering. Like, she is gonna have PTSD, and I'm surprised that hasn't been brought up, for the rest of her life. And what she's already been through with her family, and there's a certain part where she has scars on her legs, and she was talking about how she got those, and I cannot describe the pain that I felt for some of these characters. Like, and what just happened, I'm on page 330, and what just happened in chapter 29, poor Jaren. Like, I do not think a young adult should read this, because it's affected me as an adult. That's another thing. It's YA coded, but the characters act very mature, and I think it's just because they've been forced into a very mature situation. They've just had to deal with death and all of these terrible things at such a young age that they don't feel young adult. And statistically, I don't like young adult books. Like, I didn't like The Gilded Wolves. I didn't like Dance of Thieves. I didn't like Carvel. Like, there are certain young adult fantasy books that I don't enjoy because the characters feel young, and like I don't want them to feel young. I want to read an adult. Kiva and Jaren and Nari and all of them feel so much older. I'm feeling it for these characters. They are going through it. And I really like, I have an idea, like multiple ideas of where it could be going, but honestly, like, I'm the worst at guessing where a book is going, so I can't really say like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. I feel like it's gonna be a little predictable. Like, I'm gonna read it and be like, yeah, I saw that coming. So do want to start the next book. So I am gonna read Hidden Pictures. Kelly B Plans 6182 recommended Hidden Pictures, and I think someone else or that same person recommended it on my Instagram as well. It is mid-September and I'm kind of getting into that mystery thriller, like I want a different kind of book. So man, 3 books in this video and 3 different genres, like a historical fiction, young adult fantasy, and now what is Hidden Pictures? Is it mystery thriller? Thriller, horror fiction, mystery, and suspense. Not my typical genre, but that's okay. We're gonna see if someone's 6-star could be my 6-star. I finished. You guys, let me set you up, hold on. So many twists and turns and a big cliffhanger. I'm really wanting to pick up the second book. I think I'm gonna download the second one on my Kindle. I loved this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It didn't have that 5-star feeling, but since it's the first book in a series, I want to be realistic. I would hope that the books get better throughout the series, and the Goodreads ratings are pretty dang good on this book, or all 3 of the books, so I'm excited. But thank you for recommending this book. I'm so happy I picked it up. Love Kiva, Tip, Jaren, I always want to say Jalen, Jaren and Nari, a good little found family. And I know that in book 2, there's going to be so many new characters introduced just from how book 1 ended. I am going to go read and drink some coffee with Brock, and I'm going to start Hidden Pictures. I'm happy that I'm doing this themed video because I'm finding some really good books. Is it like in a comment or recommending books? I do take y'all's recommendations seriously, but it's nice to kind of set aside like set books and be like, I'm gonna read these 3 because you guys recommended them. So it's the next day. I am 100 pages in. Actually, let's see, specifically 105, chapter 9. And I'm really enjoying it. I did take some notes on my phone because I think there's some things, specific things that I want to talk about. I really like mystery thriller, but there is a trend that I'm picking up with in this genre, and I haven't really read a ton of mystery thriller, maybe 10 mystery thriller books. Some Sharp Objects, The Kind Worth Killing, The Housemaid is Watching, like a few of the more like popular ones. Again, I think it's a trend within mystery thriller horror is the short, choppy sentences. Like, it is so easy to read. And again, maybe it's just this genre, I'm not really sure, or maybe it just happens to be the books that I pick up, but I think the short choppiness of the writing style, 1, it makes it easier to read, but 2, it makes you and your adrenaline kind of like spike. Like, at least for me, it makes me feel a little anxious, keep you on your toes, and that's how I'm feeling right now. So is this a normal thing in the genre? Like, is that what the writing is meant to do? Because I really like it. But let's talk about our main character. Her name is Mallory. She is a babysitter to this rich, wealthy family, and they have 1 son. He's 5 years old. His name is Teddy, and the wife and the husband are still, like, this is almost in every mystery book that I've read, but the husband and wife are just kind of weird. They're just doing and saying things that I feel like would never happen in real life, but again, I know it's fiction. Mallory does have a really interesting backstory. She's been clean for over a year now. She was an addict, and her sponsor actually found her this job. She also is a long distance runner, so that's kind of trickled in without. I like how deep her character is because you form that connection with her. Like, I've really gotten to like her as a main character. Teddy has an imaginary friend. Her name is Anya, and Anya talks to Teddy in the middle of the night, and she usually is under his bed. So That's a little spooky, scary. Mallory is staying in the guest house in their backyard and is kind of getting spooky, scary vibes because Teddy is doing these drawings that are creepy. I'll just show you one. It's not really a spoiler, but I'll show you one of the drawings to kind of give you a good idea. So these drawings are spaced out in the book. Every chapter has like 1 to 5 drawings. So you could be on page like 50 and then end up on page 57 just because of some drawings that are in there. But here's one. Okay, now I can tell you if I was babysitting my own children draw me this, I would be concerned. I would be really concerned. This does feel really familiar. Like it feels like spooky, scary horror movies that I've watched before, to where like there's this dead girl or dead mother who is craving that child again, like she misses her own kids and it's a spirit and it's kind of haunting the family because it wants this kid. It feels really repetitive, like I've seen it before. Like this book, at least that's where I think it's going. Nice. I'm pretty sure I wore this top yesterday when I was filming, but I'm about to go to the gym, and this morning I finished Hidden Pictures. I loved it. I read this book in 2 days. I cruised through it yesterday, so we went to the coffee shop yesterday, and then when we got home I basically just read and was able to finish it this morning. I loved the pacing. I thought each chapter started off pretty slow, but then it picked up towards the end of the chapter, and it kind of did that every single chapter. It was like a refresh every chapter. One thing I didn't enjoy and didn't love was the end. It felt a little too over the top, cartoonish. Like so many different things happened back to back to back, and I was like, oh, what's going on? It wasn't that I couldn't follow it. I could. It was just one thing would happen, but then another extreme thing would happen, and then back to the other extreme, and it was just a little all over the place at the end for my taste. But wow, did I love this book. Mallory, adored her. I think she was a super realistic character that I related to on a few levels, but I think for a mystery thriller, she was like one of the most perfect main characters. Seeing her think through what was going on and a little bit expect and predict the end, but again, it was kind of all over the place at the end, so I didn't predict a few things. Breaking up of the chapters with the art and the pictures in here definitely made the book more, not palatable, but easier to read. It was like, oh, let's just get to the next picture. Let's just get to the next picture and then I'll rest, or like I'll take a reading break. Like it was easy to devour, and I'm very happy that I read it. I'm rating this 4 out of 5 stars. I don't think it's a 5-star in my rating scale. Don't think, and I think it's really hard for me to rate a mystery thriller 5 stars. I haven't had a mystery thriller, I don't think, get 5 stars before. And I'm not saying that in the future I won't have a 5-star mystery thriller. Like, I hope I do. But this one's still, like, I just had 1 or 2 issues with it. And thank you for recommending it to me. All of these books, thank you for recommending. I don't have Firefly Lane or The Prison Healer with me, but you know what I do have, because I loved The Prison Healer so much, is the second book. So I'm going to read this probably next month, like ASAP. I want to be able to remember everything that happened in Prison Healer. I found a 5-star in this video. I found 2 4-star books in this video. And I think that just proves that I need to listen to y'all's recommendations more. So I will. Please comment some recommendations down below. 5-star, 6-star. Let me know your favorite books so I can pick them up and read them. I loved doing this video, and I think I want to do another one in the future. It was a lot of fun getting to read your favorite books, so. But that is it for this video. Please like and subscribe and comment a recommendation down below, because if this video taught me anything, it's that I need to listen to you guys more.